Hello, everyone. I'm Devyn Gaydos, the marketing manager here at ClearEdge, and welcome back to Spark the Space, which is a new video series where the ClearEdge team shares all of our knowledge, expertise, and inspiration with you so that your marketing can be better than ever. Today, I'm joined by the wonderful Nikki Leonardi, an incredible marketing strategist from our team. And we were talking, and as we're coming up on the end of the year, one of the things that we see a lot of firms doing at this time of the year is customer satisfaction surveys, the most common of which is something called an NPS survey. So let's kick it off with the basics. Nikki, what is an NPS survey and why do we do them? What's the point of them?
Awesome. Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Devyn. I love to talk about NPS more than anything, or Net Promoter Scores. I don't know if I really want to admit it, but I have been using NPS since its inception over 20 years ago. And, it is really common. It's one of our most common tools when it comes to customer satisfaction. It's based on one simple question. How likely are you to recommend this company to a friend or a colleague? And that asks for a score of 0 through 10. And then it's followed up typically by one or several follow-up questions that really determine the root cause of the score. So when you ask that question, so you get to rate it 0 through 10. If they give you a 0 through 6, that's a detractor. And these are the folks that might badmouth you at your next dinner party. You don't want too many of those. We want to really deter from those detractors. Then you've got the 7s and 8s who are your passives. They're pretty neutral. They're not raving fans, but they're not out to get you either, but they are not loyal and they could leave you at any given moment. So you don't want to not pay attention to them. And then finally, you get your promoters. Those are your 9s and 10s, right? These are your brand evangelists, what we like to call in marketing, they're your unofficial marketing team. We love promoters. And then obviously your NPS score is a percentage of your promoters minus the percentage of the detractors. So if you've got 100 responses to your survey, 80 of those are promoters, that's 80%. 10 of those are detractors, that's 10%. The other 10% are passives. You're going to take the 80% of promoters minus the 10% of detractors. Your NPS score is 70. So that's how you get the score.
Amazing. That's so simple. I love
Right.
that because it's not, no one's spending 45 minutes filling out a full survey. You're getting a very specific question really, really easily. And that's
Yeah.
such, I love that question because how many of us talk about the things that we love all the time, like constantly?
Right.
So putting out a question saying, would you recommend us? Would you recommend the service that we provide? That's huge. That's such an easy way
It's
to
absolutely
get
huge.
that.
And everybody gets it
Hmm.
on the back end. It's a really simple question. It's a really simple calculation.
Now, I know there are things that people must do wrong when they do an NPS survey. So, what are some of the things that people get wrong when they go into building out an NPS survey?
So I've seen a lot over the
Yeah, if you've been doing it for a while,
years. Been
you've
here for
probably
way
seen it
too
all.
long. I mean, the worst thing that somebody can do is to put all this effort into the survey and then do nothing with it.
Sure. Hmm.
But what I would say is probably the biggest thing that I see now with companies that institute an NPS survey is that it's typically around the closed loop process. So think about it. Most companies have no problems reaching out to people who give bad feedback. That's human nature.
Hmm.
If you say something bad about me or my company, I'm probably going to reach out right away and say, like, wait, tell me more about that. I want to defend it. I want to fix it. And I want to apologize. So
Hmm.
that's really human nature. It's really easy. And most companies do that really, really well. But then the companies oftentimes forget about these greater audiences of the promoters and the passives and even clients that didn't take the survey. But what you have to think about is promoters actually have really great feedback too. Even when they promote you, sometimes they give you really good ideas about, hey, you could do this better, or have you thought about this? Or they also give you great ideas for even potential new solutions. So pay attention to promoters, follow up on those as well. Passives, I mentioned it before, you do not want to leave this group out. This group is my favorite group to pay attention to. They are the ones who are like the holders of your secret sauce when I think about it.
Hmm.
Essentially, if you are sitting there with a passive and they're giving you a 7 or 8, you're going to have to do something pretty fantastic to wow them to give you a 9 or 10. If you
Hmm.
can figure out what that is golden. You know exactly what you have to do. And that's going to be so important. So getting your passives insight is going to give you the greatest insight to what you need to do as a company when it comes to that client experience and customer experience. But then
Love that.
ultimately, at the end of the day, if you were just the holder of this knowledge, that's great and all, but what are you doing with it? You need to
Hmm.
let your employees know, you need to let that greater audience know, whether they're survey takers, non-survey takers, employees, what did you learn? How did you use their feedback? And that really sends that message of, listen, we are really committed to a culture of continuous improvement. We care about you as a client and we use your feedback. So
I absolutely love that. So yeah, do something with the data you have. Do something with it.
don't
Now,
put up the data.
yeah, don't just let it sit there. Now, that's something that people often get wrong. But so what can people do? Let's say, they're heading into the end of the year, they're doing their NPS surveys. How can they make sure that they're doing them correctly?
So a couple of things to think about when you're doing it is, first and foremost, if you're doing it on your own, that's great, but you want to make sure that you've got the right follow-up aspect. Sometimes it can be a great idea and then nobody follows through on it. So if you're going
Hmm.
to be committed to an NPS survey and you're using a tool like a Survey Monkey or just something of a standard survey tool that you do on your own, that's fine. But make sure that you've got a team in place that can follow up. You set your communication schedule on time. So it's never just a, hey, one time, here's a survey link and take it.
Yes.
Typically want a couple of reminders to ensure that people are getting that in front of them. A lot of companies, another way to be really successful is to use a third party that can effectively get it out there. Also, when you use a third party, you get a lot of honest feedback and just like regular touch points.
Hmm.
Where people aren't afraid to think like, oh, wait, is this going directly to the company or can I really answer this honestly? And I would just say when it comes to NPS, don't make it an afterthought. It truly should be part of your client experience. If your employees know that this is going out, that this is important to your leadership, that the leadership wants to hear what clients are saying, and that your entire team is committed to making their experience really a great experience, it's really important that everyone knows that this is something that the organization is committed to.
I love that. Thank you so much, Nikki, because I think so many people are going into NPS season and it's time, we need to do it correctly. So thank you for joining us. If you're watching, you can connect with Nikki on LinkedIn. And as always, you can learn more about all that we do at ClearEdge, including our marketing, recruiting, and leadership development services over at meetclearedge.com. And we'll see you next time.